there, and welcome to another weekly growth coaching with yours truly, Julia Gentry, where we talk about all the things that most people won't. Because I believe that in order to go where we've never gone, do what we've never done, see what we've never seen, experience what we've never experienced, we can't keep doing what we've always done to get different results. We have to change what we're doing. And it's not always a skill set thing, it's a mindset thing, because I believe that growth is a mindset. It's not a skill set. So today we're going to talk about something that I think is very much needed in your process of going from where you are to where you want to be. And this is a little thing that I call self-sabotage. And let's be honest, I didn't make this up. I'm not the only human being that struggles with this. And in fact, if you are alive and breathing, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say self-sabotage, okay? It's that thing that you find yourself down the path, pursuing the things that are most important to you, losing the weight, working the plan, and all of a sudden it works so well, you stop doing it, right? Or you find yourself in a relationship or with a group of people that love you, like their love is offensive, and all of a sudden you find yourself like, I don't know, not wanting to hang out with them anymore, right? Or going and hanging with the friends that complain at the bar every single night, and you wonder, what am I doing? Right? Or you are invited, right, to speak on stage in front of a group of people who love you and who want to hear what you have to say, and you get done and then you're tormented by this idea of, if only they knew the truth, if only they knew who I really was, and this imposter syndrome sets in, and then you find yourself never taking the stage again in any area of your life. You know what I'm saying? This is self-sabotage, and we have to talk about this today because it will ultimately stop you from having what you've always wanted, unless we address the issue, okay? So let's start where all good coaches start, with Google. We're gonna start with Google. And I thought that this was really interesting definition of what self-sabotage is, okay? It says that it refers to behaviors or thought patterns that hold you back and prevent you from doing what you want to do. It's like that whole concept again of, we could Google how to do anything, how to lose weight, how to make more money, how to start a business, right? How to have better passion and more love in your relationships. And we would find pages and pages and pages and pages of answers. And yet getting ourselves to do it or keep doing it is just hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it works so well that I stop doing it, or the path is so clear that I just confuse myself. Why do we make it harder than it needs to be? That's ultimately what self-sabotage is. It's you and I making this harder than it needs to be, right? And I as I was just kind of perusing, here was a couple things that I thought were really interesting of behaviors of self-sabotage. Procrastination. Not that you procrastinate, but the person next to you. Procrastination is actually a sign of self-sabotage, because I know the thing that I need to do and want to do, and yet I'm going to hide behind all the other things. Self-medication through drugs and alcohol, right? I need to face this. I need to feel this. I need to do this, but I'm going to hide behind a glass of wine. I'm going to go connect with friends, but instead of just being who I am and being vulnerable, I'm going to have a drink to get there, to be funny, to relax. I'm actually going to self-medicate myself. It's a form of self-sabotage. Comfort eating, it's another form of self-sabotage, which I thought was really, really interesting. Holding grudges, another form of self-sabotage. Unforgiveness, criticizing people, focusing on what's wrong as opposed to what's right. I mean, most of our patterns and behaviors are driven from self-sabotage. And we're going to look at this today and shine some light of awareness on this, because in order to change something, we have to heighten our level of awareness of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay, so what I'm not going to do today is I'm not going to spend a ton of time on drilling down on the awareness of how to be aware when you're doing this. I'm going to suggest that you know how real this is in your life. Okay, I'm going to give us all the benefit of the doubt to say that we are aware enough to know that we are sabotaging an area. So I want you just to pick one today. Maybe it's in relationships. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's financially. Maybe it's your body. It's your own health and well-being. Or maybe it's spiritually. It's your relationship with God, okay? We're going to pick an area and we're going to suggest that you recognize the behaviors and the thought patterns that are sabotaging you going to the next level in this area, okay? Now I'm going to shine the light on why we do this, okay? Here's why we sabotage this. What happens is that my external world is always a direct manifestation of my internal world, okay? But what happens is we live in a culture that's so fixated on what's going on around me that we've lost connection with what's going on within me. I care more about my likes on Instagram and Facebook than I care about my own likes of what I care about, because I care more about what you care about. I'm listening so much to the voices of everybody else around me that I've lost the voice within me. And over the last 10 years of growth coaching and watching my own journey, did you know that the number one thing that people actually struggle with is a lack of self-worth? What does that tell us? It tells us that in order to change the things going on around me, I'm going to have to upgrade the belief system that I have going on within me, because I can only go as far in this world. I can only experience the next level of success or love or whatever it might be based upon what my internal clock is telling me. So if I only believe that I am worthy of abusive relationships, I'm only going to attract abusive relationships. If I believe that I am not worthy and I'm not good enough and it's not fair for me to have what I want, then ultimately when I start to obtain something in the world around me that would be different than the belief system that I have within me, I'm going to break it. I'm going to sabotage it. I'm going to prove it wrong. Why? Because my internal belief system is out of alignment with some of the achievements that I have going on around me. That's why research has shown that people who win the lottery or make it big in the NBA or as a star or in football, only a couple years later completely sabotage it and end up where they were before, broke, right? And angry and mad and upset. Why? Because I changed externally. The world around me started praising me, but the world within me wasn't praising me. I've lost my own identity. I'm focusing on upgrading my world without upgrading my identity, okay? Now, how do we do that? Well, we could spend hours teaching you how to do that, but here's where we're gonna land on this first. Here is the truth, okay? That way back in Genesis, when God created everything, 7 days it took him to create, and it talks about the process. He's saying, let there be lights and let the water teem with living creatures. And he says, let there be an expanse between the waters to separate the water from the water, and let the water under the sky be gathered into one place, and let dry ground appear. God is creating. He is a creator. He is actually calling things as though they are before they are, right? Like he is the ultimate creator and dreamer, okay? So he is calling things. He's creating identity. But here's what it says about when he started to create man. This is Genesis 1:26. It says, then God said, let us make man in our own image, in our likeness. It goes on to verse 27 say, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. What does that tell us? It tells us that he created the things around us to sing the praises of heaven, to sing the praises of God. But do you know how he created you? In his own image. And so when you have a low image of yourself, what I would like to propose is that you must have a low image of who God, the creator of the universe, is, because you were made in his own image. That's where your image has to start. Not what you think about yourself, not what you've experienced yourself, not judging yourself through your mistakes and failures or all the things you have or don't have. Your new gauge, your new identity has to be around the fact that you were created in the very image of God, period. There's no way around that. Okay, now once we can actually have a new identity through the lens of I was created in the image of God, now I can actually start to change the world around me because of what I changed with the world within me. So once I get the identity within me better aligned with the truth, not my false narratives, not the lies, not the stories, not the experiences and my interpretations, but the actual truth, right? Once I know that this is now the foundation in which I will build my life, then I can actually use the tool that I talk about in my book, okay? And this tool is called Acclimating, okay? So now that you know you were made in the image of God, He created the things around us to sing the praises of God, but He created you and me in His image, then I can actually use some practical tools to move through the moment, right? To move through the pressure and the tension of everything that wants to tell me I'm not enough, that I am not lovable, that I am not worthy, right? Because as I start to move out and experience things that are gonna blow my internal gauge, my internal identity, and I'm trying to move towards the world that's unfamiliar, that I don't really know yet, we're gonna use the tool called Acclimating. And I talk about this in the book. I give you 4 tools that I think are going to help you, as though we're putting tools in our tool belt to get you from where you are to where you wanna be. We're gonna use this concept of acclimating. And I actually was just talking about this with a friend last night. We're texting back and forth, and she's actually pushing herself in some areas. And so at the very end, she just says, okay, tonight, I'm just gonna acclimate. Now, what am I talking about when I say acclimate? What I'm talking about is the concept of what climbers find themselves doing as we ascend a mountain, right? And the example I use is the one of Mount Everest, because it's just such a perfect example of what this feels like mentally and emotionally. Okay, so it says, Mount Everest is over 29,000 feet high, and only half who attempt to summit actually do. Okay, though there are many routes that you can access the Summit of Everest, most people climb Southeast Ridge or the North Ridge. The ascent contains a 19,685 foot altitude change, y'all. And it takes 40 to 60 days to fully summit. And then once people summit, they're actually only able to withstand staying at the peak for 15 minutes before their oxygen levels and their body strength runs out, okay? Now, here's what is most impressive about this climb, is that in theory, even if we wanted to get to the top tomorrow, even if we wanted to be successful, even if I wanted to make $1 million, even if I wanted to see the face of God, even if I wanted to be in a passionate marriage, even if I wanted to be there, which is what most of us think, when I get there, then I will. Even if we could get there tomorrow, the whole idea is that if you were to try to just climb straight, you would die, right? Like you wouldn't be able to sustain the peak even for the 15 minutes. Why? Because I am moving so fast externally that I'm not allowing my internal world to acclimate, to change its identity, to upgrade the belief system, to change the behaviors and thought patterns that are now going to be in alignment with where I'm going, not with where I've been. So as these climbers start to get to the summit, they have to stop at multiple camps along the way. Why? Because they have to acclimate. They have to adjust to a new norm. They have to let their physical bodies catch up with where they are and prepare for where they're going. So they do what's called an active rest, which is that they're still moving, they're eating, they're sleeping, they're giving their body the nutrients they need. And here's the piece I love the most. They're letting go of the weight that they can no longer take with them, which means in order to go from where you are to where you've never been, it's not about obtaining. It's not about he who has the most wins, though our culture would try to tell us something different. What this is that are you willing to let go of the things that can no longer serve you to get you to where you really want to be? Are you willing not to grab onto more? Are you willing to let go of more? Behaviors, thought patterns, the things that no longer serve you. The lack of self-worth, the belief that you're never good enough, the belief that you can't trust people. Do you really think that you can take that belief system with you and have everything that you've ever wanted? I'd like to propose that's a hard no. So how do we do that? That means that daily, weekly, monthly, we have to check in with ourselves. And as we start to lose the weight, as we start to lean into relationships that see us and love us and don't judge us, as we start to actually grow in income, as we start to feel the heart of God and see the face of God, we have to acclimate. If we push ourselves too hard and too fast past our own internal gauge, we'll break it. will sabotage it. So when you find yourself eating, drinking, procrastinating, judging, ask yourself, is this an opportunity to acclimate? Is this an opportunity to go back to the truth that I'm created in the image of God, the likeness of the creator of the universe? When I go back here and then I look at what's going on around me, can I let the internal belief system catch up with the change going on around me so that I can climb high, sleep low, acclimate to this idea that I am worthy of love, that I can achieve anything I put my mind to, that God is for me, that I can trust people, that I can be loved unconditionally? Because when I can catch up to that belief system and adopt it as my own, then I can climb to the next camp. It's never a matter of if the summit is possible or not possible. It's not a matter of if what you're looking for is possible or not possible. It's a matter of, do you believe it? Is your internal clock in alignment with the fact that you're made in the image of God, and so you are here to do even greater things than He? Why? Not because of what you can do on your own, but because of who God created you to be with Him in you. So today what I would like to propose is that those moments of self-sabotage are actually an opportunity to look at truth and no longer the lie. That moment that you want to give up and you want to procrastinate and you want to quit and you want to run and you want to hide, what if you just decided to acclimate? What if you decided to turn your back on the lie, look straight in the eyes of truth, and take a deep breath and breathe it in until you go, I actually think I'm worthy of this. I believe that because of who God is in me, that I can say yes to this. When that changes, the world around you changes. And what I would like to suggest for you today is to no longer fight against those areas of self-sabotage, no longer chalk it up as just a blame, game, shame thing that we do, but actually start to create a new behavior and pattern that will let you move through it. And the way that you do that, first, is setting your eyes on the truth that you were created in the image of God. And second is to grab your tool of acclimating. Take a deep breath today. Look at what's around you and offer up some gratitude. Slow down a little bit. Don't keep pushing yourself so hard that you're going to break. Don't keep pushing yourself so hard that you aren't going to let the world change within you, because then you will change the world around you. So I believe in you today. I hope that this serves you. I cannot wait to see what happens in the world around you, because you take the time to change the world within you. And of course, join me here every single week as I give you tools, tips, principles, and ideas that take you from where you are to where you want to be.